Hey guys, Marissa from the Neon Tea Party here. Today I'm going to share my tips for how to make stretch bracelets that don't break. So there's nothing worse, I think, than stringing up a really sweet beaded bracelet and then all of a sudden it snaps and the beads go everywhere, and that's super sad. So I wanted to share my tips with you on how to make stretch bracelets using Stretch Magic string, which is a really awesome brand of elastic that is really durable and is kind of one of the tips for making long-lasting stretch jewelry. So the things you're going to need are, of course, the Stretch Magic, which I mentioned. I'm using 0.5 millimeters size today. You could use 0.7. I think there's a 1 millimeter. You can use whatever size is the largest gauge, or like the thickness of string that fits all of your beads. I tend to use a lot of seed beads, so I like to stay on the smaller side to make sure that all my beads fit, but the 0.7 is also great too. You're going to need, of course, beads, whatever beads you like. I'm using a bead board here today, which just helps me plan out my pattern. You're going to also need a beading needle if you'd like. You don't necessarily need a beading needle when you're working with Stretch Magic because it doesn't fray, but it does help, especially again if you're using small beads. You're also going to need something to stop your beads as you're stringing them. So you can use washi tape, you can use a little binder clip, you can use one of those coil bead stoppers. I always use washi tape. I find it super handy. And another important supply you're going to want is GS Hypo Cement glue. This is an awesome glue for small jewelry projects, and we're going to use this to add just an extra bit of security to our knot when we're done beading. Couple other things to make things easy, a pair of scissors, and then there's an option if you'd like to cover your knot at the end. You're going to want one of these little crimp covers and a pair of pliers. This is to cover your knot at the end and give you a nice sort of polished finish. I'll show you guys how to do that. You could see here on this bracelet, I can't even see which one. It looks exactly like a spacer bead. I think it's this guy here. So you could just see that it hides that knot. But if your knot is able to fit underneath one of the beads, like this bead here, it'll definitely fit inside here. You won't need that crimp cover. Or if you don't mind the knot showing, especially if you're using a clear string like this, it doesn't show so badly. So totally up to you. All of these supplies are available in the Neon Tea Party shop. Check out our bead shop. We have tons of awesome beads and jewelry making supplies. You can find everything here, and I'll include the links to everything in this video today below. So go ahead and click that if you are interested in crafting with any of these supplies. At the Neon Tea Party, we are crafting fanatics. That's what we do. So all of the supplies that I'm using today are our tried and true favorite jewelry making supplies, beading supplies. So you can be sure that if you get any of these, you're going to be really happy with your beading results. Okay, so let's get started making our stretch bracelet. So I have my pattern planned out here. I measured my wrist. My wrist is 6 inches. So I've planned out my pattern here, and it's also about 6 inches. When you're making a stretch bracelet, you can, maybe add a little bit, make it a little bit longer than your wrist size, but with stretch jewelry, it can be kind of fitted around your wrist. So totally up to you. And we're going to get started by preparing our string. So I have my Stretch Magic here, and what else am I going to need? My washi tape, a pair of scissors, and that's about it. So I'm going to take my string and start by wrapping it around my wrist, and you're going to want about like 3-ish extra inches. We're about to stretch out our string even more. If you skip the stretching step, you'll probably want a little bit of extra length, but this is going to grow in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my string. And now this is one of the important tips, is to pre-stretch your string. And what this is going to do is, you think about jewelry breaking, bracelets breaking. One way that it can break is by stretching out, and then your beads are kind of like wiggling around on the string, and that's no fun. So this really helps make sure that before you even string your beads on, that your string won't stretch out while you wear it. I will also say that on the back of the Stretch Magic packaging, there are some tips like that. So one of them here, pre-stretch your string. So you can always refer back to the packaging, is really helpful. Okay, now that my string is pre-stretched, I'm going to take my washi tape and put a little tape flag at the end. This is one of my favorite tips when beading. I just take the end of the string right in the center of my washi tape, fold it in half, and there you go. Now your beads won't fall off. Again, you can use a little binder clip if you have that, or a coil bead stopper. Either way, I love doing these little washi tape flags. It's really cheap, always handy. And if you're beading, especially if you're beading with a group, you're beading with kids, you can always pre-flag everyone's string, and then they can just start adding their beads on. So that's what I'm going to do now. Time to bead. So I'm going to go ahead, add all my beads. I'm just going to show you real quick. If you would like to use a beading needle, these are the ones that we carry, and they're wire, and they kind of open up like this. You stick your string right through it, bring your string to one end, and then you can start beading. But like I said, you don't necessarily need to use a beading needle when working with Stretch Magic, because it's not gonna fray on you. So I'm just going to add all my beads here. And maybe I'll just put this into fast forward mode to get to the end of my bracelet here. So let's go. Okay, so I have all of my beads on my bracelet. I always like to wrap my bracelet around my wrist, make sure it's long enough. It is. So cute. I'm loving this half pearl, half rondelle beads look, or half pearl, half any beads look. Super cute. Again, you can find all of these beads in the Neon Tea Party shop. Everything linked below. So now it's time to knot our bracelet. And there are a few ways that you can do this. Again, there's instructions on the back of the Stretch Magic packaging. And I have one preferred method that's kind of a variation on the second method below, the surgeon's knot. So I'm going to show you how I like to tie my bracelets up, and I'm going to show you here on the bracelet, and then I'm also going to show you with some bigger cord. This is very tiny and clear, so not the easiest to see, but I'm going to show you both ways. So to do the surgeon's knot, let me move the bead end tray out of the way. Okay, so to do this, so we're going to do a double surgeon's knot. So if you've never done this before, it's very simple. You're basically going to just start by crossing your strings over. I'm going to cross left over right to start, and then I'm going to take the end, tuck it under once, and then tuck it under a second time. And I'm going to pull it not too tight just yet, but just enough to remove the slack. And then I'm going to carefully do the same thing, but in the opposite direction. I'm going to take right over left, and I'm going to tuck it under once. So tucked it under once and then tuck it under a second time. And I'm just going to pull tightly so that all is secure. And then I like to get down to the bead here and pull the knot in this direction as well. And then give the whole bracelet a nice tug to make sure that it's secure. So before I move on, I'm going to show you how to do that knot again, but using a bigger cord so that you can more easily see it. All right, so I'm going to show you guys just like a little bit more enlarged how to tie this double surgeon's knot. So pretend that this is your elastic. So I like to start left over right. And so I'm going to take the left end of my string, cross it over the right, and then I'm going to tuck it underneath one time and then underneath a second time. And you'll see that the strings are sort of wrapped around each other like this. And now you're going to repeat that process, but you're going to go right over left. So I'm going to take right over left, tuck under once, and then tuck under a second time. And then when you pull it nice and tight, you're going to have this really sturdy double surgeon's knot. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. Now I'm going to show you how to finish off your bracelet. You can do this one of two ways. So first you're going to want to snip off the ends of your string, and you're going to want to secure your knot with a little dot of this GS Hypo Cement, which I absolutely love. Now, one thing, it comes out really quickly, so you just want to have something on hand to sort of be underneath your glue so that it doesn't get, say, on your table that you're working on, and it comes out quickly. So I've just gone ahead, opened it, and I'm just going to do a dot of glue real fast, and then you're going to want to recap your glue quickly as well. And now, like I said, if you're using beads that have a large hole, you can just go ahead and leave your bracelet like that. You can tug the string slightly so that the knot sort of goes into one of the beads, and with the glue on there, it'll kind of just live under there, which is pretty nice. But if you'd like to have a clean, sort of professional finish on it, then you can use a crimp cover, which is this little finding here. It looks like a little C, and it's hollow on the inside. So I'm going to show you, this bracelet doesn't necessarily need it, but I want to make sure that you see how this works if it is the finishing that you're wanting for your bracelet. So you could just take your little crimp cover and you're going to pop it over the knot. And then you're going to take a pair of flat nose or needle nose pliers like this, and you're just going to carefully close up the C. So it's going to go from a C to basically a little Cheerio. So I usually like to collapse it, sort of like close it, and then I'll kind of come up over the top of it and just get it to be a little more round, because it might look a little teardrop shape, which it does right now. And this is very challenging to do on camera. There we go. Okay. Super cute. It just looks like a little gold spacer bead, which is awesome. And now I have my super durable, super adorable stretch bracelet to add to my arm party. So if you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up Any questions you have, pop them in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to the Neon Tea Party's YouTube page for more awesome craft tutorials like this one.